Are underwater UFOs an imminent threat? Well, the US government seems to be convinced that the answer is yes. Hi everyone, I am DozGeek and you are watching the channel UFO Section 51 on YouTube. Welcome everyone. You are always welcome on this amazing channel dedicated to the subject of UFOs and alien extraterrestrial life in this very strange universe. As always, I will invite you to like, to share this video, and of course to subscribe to the channel if you are new here, if you want to join our growing community, a community of people who are passionate with this amazing subject. We are all thrilled by this powerful question: are we alone in the universe? But in today's video, we are going underwater. We are going to explore the deep sea and all its mysteries. And if you are used now to watch videos on this channel for several months or years, maybe, you must know now that UFOs are not only limited in the sky or in a single dimension. We can also find some UFOs underwater. USO for Unidentified Submerged Object. And we are today on the website Popular Mechanics with this new article published now at the beginning of August 2024 with the title, "Are underwater UFOs an imminent threat? The US government sure thinks so, and here is the proof." Very interesting, isn't it? In 1992, multiple witnesses in California reported that more than 200 disc-shaped objects soundlessly exited Santa Monica Bay waters, hovered for a moment, and then sped away into the sky. 6 years later, US Navy Chief Petty Officer Charles Howard wrote an account of an apparent underwater anomaly. "My ship was visiting Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, when I saw 3 strange big white lights in the water," he said in the History Channel show UFO Files. They were 10 or 20 feet on each side with a rounded shape, according to Howard's written account. Claims of such unidentified submerged object, or USOs, have intrigued UFO enthusiasts for decades. Based on eyewitness reports, some of the objects have even seemed to traverse the boundary between air and water, traveling at shocking speeds of hundreds of miles per hour. A small group of UFO devotees, including government security and military officials, have believed for years that the US should be seriously looking into potentially threatening anomalies in bodies of water, as well on land and in the air. In a bipartisan effort, that group ultimately helped convince the US government to legislate a name change for the term it uses to refer to UFOs today, from unidentified aerial phenomena to unidentified anomalous phenomena, reflecting lobbyists' concerns about underwater threats. The slight name change may appear to be a simple case of semantics, but it proves the Pentagon sees underwater UFOs as a legitimate concern. The Department of Defense has made it clear that it doesn't assume UAPs necessarily indicate extraterrestrial activity. In fact, these phenomena have so far proven to have mundane explanations. These include human-made technology like drones and weather balloons, Starlink satellites, or atmospheric events such as lenticular cloud formations. A shift in how the government handled UFO reports first came to a head in the 2010s. Pressure from legislators as well as public interest in the government's disclosure of classified UFO reports started changing defense culture. For instance, after decades of shielding information on sightings from the public, the military now encourages service members to report unexplained phenomena. Today, Navy pilots report odd incidents in the interest of national defense, such as the 2019 sighting by a Navy warship that seemed to link UFOs and USOs. In 2021, The Department of Defense created the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, a program within the US Office of Naval Intelligence meant to standardize collection and reporting of UFO sightings, aiming to integrate knowledge and efforts across the Pentagon and other government agencies. The Office of the Secretary of Defense established the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, soon afterward. By law, every federal agency must review, identify, and organize each unidentified anomalous phenomena UAP record in its custody for disclosure to the public and transmission to the National Archives. Prior to the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act, which authorizes funding levels for the US military and other defense priorities, UAP originally stood for only aerial objects. Now it includes underwater and transmedium phenomena. It's why AARO was so named, to investigate all domain anomalies. But before the legal name change, the AARO was already considering objects over and in the water, so it was a little confusing to keep calling them all aerial. In 2022, the terminology to describe unexplained incidents officially switched from aerial to anomalous. Congress enacted the name change in December 2023. This legal change traces back to pressures from UFO enthusiasts who believed submerged and transmedium objects, which seem to fly between air and sea, should be included in the government's potential threat evaluation. These proponents include US Navy Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet, who published a report on the potential maritime threat of USOs, and Lou Elizondo, who once ran the government's secret Pentagon unit, the 2007-12 Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. A dearth of data about USOs and UAPs is unsettling because they jeopardize US maritime security, which is already weakened by our relative ignorance about the global ocean, Rear Admiral Gallaudet wrote in his report. In addition, this is an opportunity to expand maritime science and meet the security and scientific challenges of the future, he added. So the hunt for solid evidence has begun. Yet, evidence of submerged objects is murky at best, says UAP investigator Mick West. There is vastly less evidence than for flying objects, he explains in an email. You can't see very far underwater, so there is no video or photos. There are only stories about anomalous sonar returns and occasional sightings that might as well be of sea monsters, he says. The Puerto Rico Aguadilla incident of 2013 also influenced USO and transmedium enthusiasts, West says. We have some of these videos on the channel. However, they base their claim largely on one video of the incident, which, when analyzed, turns out to have a perfectly reasonable explanation of two wedding lanterns and parallax illusions, West says. That's what he thinks. Based on the angle of the camera positioned on a moving airplane, and consequently its changing line of sight on the flying objects, the viewer sees the objects streaking rapidly over the ocean, apparently diving in, and then emerging again. West's analysis confirms a theory first proposed by Ruben Lianza, the head of the Argentina Air Force's UAP Investigation Committee. The objects were wedding lanterns that originated at a nearby hotel and floated on the wind. Lianza confirmed the hotel typically released lanterns that were consistent with the video. The thermal camera, which reads it, made it appear that the objects merged with the ocean because when the lantern's flames were hidden, they were about the same temperature as the water they floated over. At the same time, the lanterns seemed to emerge from the water when the flame was visible again. Okay, so this one was debunked. But new transmedium and submerged UAP reports could crop up in the future. The government will only be able to take reports of strange underwater lights or objects flying out of the water seriously, says West, if the sightings come with enough solid evidence to follow up with a solid analysis. Finally, a very classical article talking about the potential threat of these USOs. But what is interesting below this article is the comments. Everyone must demand disclosure, it won't collapse religion, the Pope already knows. Great depiction of a gravity well. You can go to Kwajalein Island in the Pacific, I don't know this island, if you have the classification, and watch the yellow spheres come and go all day and all night. The US Navy considers them the usual extraterrestrial traffic. Antimatter reactors using element 115 with protons turning to E116 can create a time-space anti-gravity well. You simply fall into it. The more you engage, the faster and less time you fall. Someday, hopefully, Lockheed and the others will release this for airline travel. They left out so many more stories. Commander Fravor saw a huge one underwater when he was dancing with them off the coast of California. The Russians say they saw actual underwater beings, and some died in the encounter in Lake Baikal, the deepest lake in the world. There is many more bits. These are two of the strangest and done with military documentation. Yes, and that's for me the occasion to talk to you about the books that I wrote. Let me remind you that these two books are available. These books written by Dozgeek, yes. First one, this is the French version, but it is also available in English. So French viewers, you can buy it now in French. Very interesting about the ancient astronauts and their influence on Earth through the different civilizations during several millennials. But the last one, Beyond Fire and Steel, UAPs and Celestial Objects in Wartime, UFO Chronicles from the Battlefield. This is the last one I published on Amazon at the beginning of the year. In this one, I talk about these different incidents with USOs encountered or reported by the militaries, some reported by the US militaries and the US submarines, but a lot of incidents with USOs were reported by veterans, by Russian veterans, a lot of encounters with Russian submarines. So that is very interesting. You will find all that in this book, a lot of stories. There you have the story of the Lake Baikal, here the representation of the aliens encountered by Russian military divers. So I am actually working on the translation of this book in French for the French readers, the French UFO enthusiasts, so available very soon in French. And you can find these two books on Amazon. You have all the links on the channel here on UFO section 51. So guys, thank you again for watching this new video. This was Dozgeek, and it was again a real pleasure to discover this article with you. Apparently the US government and the US authorities, and especially the US military authorities, are considering this subject as a more and more important threat. Apparently, and also on the basis of all the videos we made previously, UFOs may be interdimensional objects. And an interdimensional object can travel through the air, through space, so through time, and also through water. There is a big part of the oceans, of the deep water on Earth, that is still unknown for us. I think that we know more about the moon, actually, than we know about the deep sea. That's an amazing idea, an amazing concept, but that's the reality, that's the truth of today, and we have to deal with it. Of course, it forces us to stay humble, knowing all these limits, all these difficulties that we still encounter in this infinite work of research, in this infinite quest for truth. I hope that you liked this video. Maybe you want to share some thoughts about this subject. You are free to react in the comments below the video, of course. It will be a pleasure for me to read all your comments. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your likes, for your sharings. And of course, welcome also to the new subscribers to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Now the time has come to leave, and maybe if you are in vacation, it could be a good idea to see underwater if you can find, or if you can film with the camera, something interesting. So guys, we will see in the next video very soon on UFO section 51. Meanwhile, keep your eyes on the sky, and of course, live long and prosper.